Hello, Leos, and welcome to your reading. So, I'm not entirely sure exactly what wants to come through for your reading today. However, hi, Kyrie. Sorry if you heard my cat. Um, she's apparently talkative now. You want to give a reading too? Um, So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what wants to come through. However, when I was getting ready for your reading, I felt very drawn to the airplane card on the bottom of this deck. So I kind of feel like this could be literal travel for some of you. Um, but this could also mean just movement in life in general, like going down your path, reaching a certain goal that you're heading towards, um, something that you're leaving behind, someone that you're leaving behind, breaking free from someone or something, freedom. So that could be the theme for this message, but literal travel did kind of come through as a feeling that I wanted to talk about just briefly for a moment. And so if I feel like if you are going on a literal trip, possibly on a plane, um, like a long distance trip across countries, then this reading's for you, definitely. Um, Sorry, my cat is distracting me now because she wants to walk all over my cards, and I don't want that. Please don't. Um, I just really feel like if you are going on this literal trip, I just really feel good things about it. Like you're going to have really good experiences. So let's go ahead and get into the cards and see what else wants to come through. Okay. Yes, definitely something about movement coming through with the King of Cups here. Not King of Cups, sorry. Knight of Cups. Going with the flow of things. Yeah, I really don't feel like this is a rushed trip, a rushed movement. But you aren't staying steady either. Like, you are kind of embracing this moment and being like, yeah, I'm ready to move forward. I'm ready to go on this trip. I'm ready to go down my path. I'm ready to see where something takes me and what kind of experience am I going to have along the way. So that's kind of what I see for you guys, Leos. Now, Nine of Swords did want to poke out of the deck here, so I pulled that out. Something keeping you up at night, some kind of worry that you may have, something that has been making your mind race. It could be about the travel, it could be about this journey. If it's like literal travel, then it's kind of like going through your mind, even though maybe some of you may have a list of like all the things that you need, but you're still running things through your mind like, did I actually pack that? Do I have that thing in my suitcase? Do I have my boarding pass? Do I, my passport? Things like that. Do I have everything that I need lined up in a row? And Spirit is saying, yeah, you are definitely having, you're definitely tired. You're definitely tired. If this isn't a literal trip for you, same thing. Just this journey alone that you have taken to get to this moment where you're just kind of like, all right, you know what? I'm done forcing things to happen and I'm just going to let things go and fall where they may. You may have had a tower moment in the past or recently that is still affecting you. But on the bottom of the deck, we do have strength popping out. You and Leos, look at that lion. Look at that beautiful lion who is so happy and content. Interesting. That lion really makes me feel like that's who you are on the inside. This really strong being, like a lion. But there's also this gentle nature about you as well. And it's something where it's like, I think we really need to tap into, you really need to tap into that inner lion. You can roar when you have to, but I feel like you've been roaring for a long time. And now it's kind of like you being like, okay, universe, help me along here, guide me along. This is why we're going with the flow. We still have worry, we still have restlessness, because that thing that shook us up, any kind of hardship that really shook us up, anything that had, abruptly ended, anything that you're leaving behind is still the past. That past is still affecting you. But we have this strength in us. We we still have this strength in us, even if we're worried, even if we're tired. Okay, you still have that strength. Let's see what else wants to come out. Hmm. Yeah, Three of Pentacles, though it was in reverse. I think what you're doing, you're over analyzing too much. Okay. And again, we're all up here and we're thinking a little bit too much of the past, over analyzing how to not have it affect you again. That's what you're doing. You're learning to go with the flow. Oh my God, my throat. It's allergy season. I apologize. Yeah, Spirit is saying you gotta loosen the reins a little bit. And I think you're trying to do that. It's just new for you. So it's hard. So you may still be overanalyzing things at times, but again, this is just a reminder that you are strong enough to take on whatever comes your way on this journey. Even if past things were to come up again, you know how to handle that now. Okay. We also have the Four of Pentacles, but this was also in reverse. And it's really, I feel like you're learning to let go. You're not holding on to certain things so tightly. And again, I feel like it's still a little bit of a struggle for you, but I think Spirit is saying that you're doing a good job, even though it's hard and even though you may feel like you're taking a step back at times, like maybe a repeated pattern that you've had in the past, um, kind of pops up a little bit. You're still putting in that work to not overanalyze so much, to not hold on to so tightly to certain things that no longer serve you. You've really like gone through and have decided like, okay, this thing, these people maybe, I cannot take this thing, certain energy into my future, so I really do need to let it go. And sometimes you may feel a draw back in, but you're strong enough to be able to pull yourself out. It may be part of what you have been staying up at night about, anything that's been racing through your mind is like overanalyzing that action of like, I went back to that. I shouldn't have done that, or I shouldn't have said that. And it's kind of like, and a good example is like you want to save more money, but you were out and about, you saw this one little cute thing. You don't necessarily need it, but you knew that there was a part of you that was just kind of like, yeah, but I've been putting in so much work and I kind of deserve this little happiness. And it's something that's not even like wildly expensive. It's like $5 or something. So you're just like, yeah, I really like this and I can kind of like keep this as something to remind myself of like my goals in the future. You know, maybe like some little home decoration that you're just kind of like, I can put this on my wall in my future home, just as an example, okay? And so you go ahead and you get it. And then the next day it kind of hits you and you're just kind of like, should I have done that? Because maybe in the past you've had issues with money, okay? And so you're just kind of like, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. But yet at the same time, you also know that you're going to be okay, even if you did do that. So it's learning, again, to not overanalyze everything and to know that even little moments like that are okay. Okay, yeah, little moments like that. Maybe there was something um your inner child was calling out to with this Page of Wands here. Something tied to your inner child that really brought you so much joy. And it's okay. This may even be encouragement actually to tap into that inner child and do something that really, like younger you, would have really enjoyed, despite what anybody else thinks. This has kind of come up in other readings too, where a feeling of like tapping into that inner child and really making them happy is also part of inner child healing. So I kind of feel like there's a lot of people, there's a lot of the collective as a whole trying to heal from their past, even as a child. So doing that inner child healing and really tapping into their core happiness. Again, regardless of what other people think, regardless of somebody, like even older than you being like, well, you're not a kid anymore. You don't need to be doing that kind of thing. But it doesn't hurt anybody and it makes you happy. So what's the problem? If it's like watching, for example, yeah, this is a really good example. I, the other day, watched the Lizzie McGuire movie because I watched Disney Channel as a teenager and around it was middle school. Like I was a huge Lizzie McGuire fan and I loved Disney Channel, and that's kind of when I started getting into Disney Channel. And so I'm like 14 years old probably watching this Lizzie McGuire movie. Hadn't watched it in a very long time, but decided to watch it again because it popped up on my Disney Plus, and I'm like, you know what? I enjoyed that then, and I'm kind of like just needing a good, easy moment. It's just a good, relaxing moment of something that I enjoy. And so I put it on. And yeah, I enjoyed it. It made me happy because, again, I was a huge Lizzie McGuire fan. Am I like huge Lizzie McGuire fan now? No, but I do remember how much that show made me feel happy and really made me feel more like myself around that time, around being a teenager, you know? So like, yeah, it was it was a good moment, and it's like, and I was just here in my room watching it by myself. No judgment, and I was able to just enjoy it. So do something like that makes your inner child happy, makes you happy, even if it's something, older like that. Um, like who cares? Who really cares if it makes you happy and it doesn't hurt anybody? Like me watching the Lizzie McGuire movie doesn't hurt anybody. It just makes me happy. So definitely do that. Um, and then we also have the Knight of Swords. So definitely movement coming through. And then we also have the Knight of Wands. Okay. I feel like Once you go through this healing journey, other aspects of your life are going to start moving forward much faster. And it's going to gain that momentum. So, like, we start doing things that really make us happy without judgment of from others, without caring what others think so much, but also less judgment of yourself too. So, not to say to be irresponsible, like let's say, with the money example that I gave where you bought this $5 thing. I'm not saying to just throw your money around, still be responsible, but when we do little acts like that where it's like, I really want that candy bar. Go ahead and get the candy bar, you know, because that's going to give you that little moment of joy. Once you start doing little things like that for yourself, other things are going to really start taking off. And like I said, it's going to gain momentum. So we have the Knight of Swords, where now we're not really going with the flow so much. Now we're taking swifter action. And as you get used to that action, then we're going to tap into this Knight of Wands energy, and things are really going to start taking off really fast. Okay. Not necessarily in an overwhelming way. It might be a little overwhelming. Um, but like it's going to be momentum that you are going to be strong enough to handle. Okay. And if anything does feel a little bit overwhelming, know that it's also okay to take a day to just rest because you need that rest. We are human, okay? Our bodies are not meant to be going all of the time. You do need to take some rest. Otherwise, you're going to experience burnout, and then you're not going to really feel like you can really do much of anything. So, like, you need that rest. So, take that rest. You're strong enough to find that balance. You're strong enough to not judge yourself when you do take rests. And maybe that's part of why another part of why like you're in that Nine of Swords energy and also the Four of Swords energy. You are tired, you feel drained, you need to rest, but then at the same time we're worrying about resting too much. You're not resting too much. You are still moving forward, okay? We just need to stop overanalyzing things. We need to let go of things. Stop judging yourself. Do little small acts of kindness for yourself. And then we're going to be tapping more into that movement. So yeah, definitely things about movement. Whew, all right. Let's see what else we got here with some oracle cards. Careful aim with the archer. So really like I said, you don't need to overanalyze things, but we still also need to make sure that our focus on our direction, what we're heading towards, is a careful aim. It's precise. Okay. We also have quick, so this is also tapping into this movement energy of being quick. Yeah. So it's like really keeping what I heard was really keep your eye on the prize, and meaning keep your vision focused. Keep that sight on the horizon of where your goals are, where you want what you want to achieve, okay? You can even envision that of like take a moment when things are kind of overwhelming, take a moment to pause, reflect, relax, but then also keep that in mind where you're just kind of like, okay, I'm beginning to overanalyze again. I'm beginning to doubt myself again. I'm a little overwhelmed, but let's just take a moment to breathe, and it's okay to take this moment to breathe. What is this going to look like when I reach my goal? How am I going to feel when I reach my goal? And then that's going to start allowing you to feel more of that energy. And you're going to want to really, tap into that where you're just kind of like, yep, that's exactly what I want. That's the feeling that I want. So let's go. let's head towards that. But like I said, if you need to take breaks, definitely take that break. But yeah, it's Archer here is just saying to keep your focus on exactly what it is that you want to achieve. Okay. So this could represent you, regardless of gender, or it could represent somebody else in your life, whether you are romantically connected to them or your friend, just somebody that you know. Um, you could be going on a trip with somebody. I did kind of feel like you weren't taking, like if it's a literal trip, you're not taking this trip alone. But you could also end up meeting somebody there. Perhaps on this journey for some of you, you actually may find a romantic partner. So you may not know this person yet, but you are meant to know them. Take whatever resonates because this is a collective reading. So, yeah. Okay. Movement towards a house, what I'm hearing. Some of you may want to move. Some of you maybe want to move out of the country. Some of you are in the process of moving, or you have this desire of your own place to be. Somewhere that has safety, somewhere where you can build tradition, somewhere that you have a solid foundation. You can plant your roots, a sense of belonging. And you may desire to have this home with somebody else as well. We also have balance coming through. So this makes me go back a little bit when like we're starting to feel a little overwhelmed or too tired and we take this rest. It's that sense of like finding that balance between rest and action, but also taking time to center yourself, relax, meditate, whatever it is that you need to do to find your center and remind yourself about where it is you want to be at with a feeling. It's more so about how you feel at the end of all of this. Okay, when you finally achieve your goal, how do you feel? And then maybe it's a sense here of feeling complete. That's what's on this card here, feeling complete. I'm also seeing equality, and I feel like it's kind of tied to this person here, this person card, where it's an equal, like an equal match, an equal effort in the relationship. And maybe that's part of your goal too, is to find somebody or improve your relationship if you already are in a relationship with somebody, to find a balance, to make things more equal. Broom. Sweeping out what you don't need. Okay, so that's kind of going back a little bit towards the beginning, what we were talking about, leaving certain things behind, leaving certain energies behind, and really deciding what it is that you need to take with you and what you don't need and leaving it in the past. There may be some repetition coming through, like I said, with certain actions, certain thoughts, certain feelings. But I do feel like, Leo, who's ever tapping in here, I do feel like you are working on not repeating so much. And then when we leave things that no longer serve us, it's going to feel so good when it's all finally over. Okay, when that's all finally over, and whether that means you finally achieved that goal, or you're still on that path towards that goal, when you have finally left things in the past that need to stay in the past, it's going to feel so good. You're going to feel so much better. And you're probably not going to be so much in this Nine of Swords moment, or even the Four of Swords. where we're worrying and we're stressed, where we're worrying and we're tired. Okay. So yeah, you're really working on cleaning up your energy, and that's really, really good. And I do feel like, yeah, part of the encouragement from spirit is to really tap into that um youthful energy, that younger self, your child energy. And as I'm talking about that, we literally have childhood and tandem bicycle coming out. Look how playful this is. Play. You need to start playing again. Do things that really light you up and make you feel like you and really make you just happy. Because when we start doing that, we're not worrying so much about anything. And then it's easier to go with the flow, and then it's going to be easier to allow more momentum to come in. With, excuse me, with Tandem Bicycle here, we do have partnership coming out in unison. So, yeah, more about equality, togetherness. So, I really do see like there's this harmony between you and somebody else. And like I said, this could be for some of you a relationship that you're already in, or this is a future relationship that you're going to be a part of. Maybe for some of you, I'm kind of getting maybe some of you are kind of testing the waters with somebody else. And perhaps you're taking this trip with somebody and they kind of want to test the waters with you too. So that's kind of coming through. Again, take whatever resonates for you. But regardless, I do see a sense of a new beginning coming in for you where you're leaving things behind and you're keeping your focus on your goals, okay? What it all is that you want to bring in life, whether that is a new home life with a partner, it could be romance, I'm not really getting job related. Maybe for some of you it's a job, but I'm not really getting that. It's more of like foundation building where you want to live and who you want to spend the rest of your life with. That's mainly coming through. And if it's not a partner that you really want, if you're not really into that romantic partner right now, that's perfectly okay. Know that this is still just a foundation for you, for yourself. But please bring in that sense of play. Okay, and just find a way to really enjoy life again. And one of the ways to do that is to just tap into this kind of childlike, playful energy. Revisiting the past. Yeah. Maybe for some of you, this is a trip to revisit your past. Like a literal trip, like going back home or something. Taking a quick trip back home, or maybe you're moving back home. Again, take what resonates. But let's go ahead and get an affirmation card to end your reading on. I feel like this one, and I feel like this one. Okay. So we have the presence of love will always cast out fear. And this doesn't have to be romantic love. This can be self-love, okay? Self-love is very powerful as well. And then we also have, thank you, universe, for helping me see beyond the limits of fear. Thank you for expanding my perceptions so that I can see what is of the highest good. All right. So, Leo, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for coming by and listening to this reading. I hope it helped you. I hope it resonated with you. If you'd like, you can go ahead, leave a like, comment, subscribe down below. You can also follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Those links are in the description. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys. I am sending you so much love, healing, and blessings your way. I am wishing you all the best, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!